Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chatterbox podcast, episode 4.5. This is a point. A point? Excuse me. This is a part two of episode 4 of the Chatterbox. So you could officially still consider it episode 4, which is why it's 4.5. If you want to see just my video that I did, which is relatively short, just talking about Kristaps Porzingis himself as a player, then be sure to go check that out. It's Chatterbox episode 4, which is up on my channel already, and it'll be linked in the description below, as well as that little eye icon up in the upper right hand corner of your screen for you to be able to just go and click on that and watch that. Obviously, I understand that a lot of people have already automatically capitalized for views rather than just actually literally giving their honest opinions on talking about this trade. I just decided to basically make two separate parts to this, where I talk about Kristaps himself, which is the main reason why I wanted to do this, and then I figured I'd talk about the trade anyway because it just makes sense and it's relevant at the time, and it's what I think a lot of people are expecting. I hope you guys enjoyed this part 2, episode 4.5 of Chatterbox, talking about the trade. Let me know what you think in the comments below, and I'll see you guys in the next video. When it comes down to the Maverick side of the fence, technically Kristaps is officially considered a power forward, and that means they officially have a proper power forward rather than a tweener to play at that position, and it also improves that team a lot more. It sucks that they got rid of Dennis Smith Jr. and they felt like he just didn't fit with that team anymore. I know why they drafted Dennis Smith Jr. A lot of people saying it didn't make sense for them to do that. I think it did, because of the fact that they didn't really have a proper young point guard to man that team. The closest they had was Yogi Ferrell, which was undrafted. They signed him. Turned out he did really good. He ended up staying there for, what, a season and a half, 2 seasons before, and then he signed with Sacramento this offseason, which didn't really make too much sense because Yogi fit with the system so well, but then at the same time you still had Dennis Smith Jr., and he was developing, so that to me made sense that they would let him go so that they could let Dennis Smith, hopefully in their minds, play more minutes. Same with Luka. But then Luka's official sub position is considered point guard, not small forward, even though he's 6'8", point guard. That is actually something where I could see why, again, they'd let somebody like Yogi Ferrell go. They still have, obviously, JJ Barea, Juan Jose Barea, either it's Jose Juan Barea, I can't remember which one. But yeah, anyway, and yeah, they still have him, and he's always been really underrated in my mind, especially considering like the quality of play he gives a team, and the energy, and just the passion he plays with is disgusting. And that's a good thing. So I've always liked him, and it's good that he fits with that system. He always has. Him and Dirk always have had a good relationship too, so that's why it makes sense to keep him on board. But now you have an aging point guard in Juan Jose Barea. You no longer have Dennis Smith Jr., who is supposed to be a point guard shooting guard combo. I guess the way it sounds in the team's mind down there in Dallas, they felt like it was actually reversed, and that now this season they felt like Dennis Smith Jr. should be more of a shooting guard than a point guard, which makes it even worse for Dennis Smith time-wise, because that means, guess who's getting all his minutes? Now it's Luka. And then sub position would be point guard for him, but so is Luka's. So Luka again would be playing a sub position of point guard over Dennis Smith Jr. So that's why I feel like that was kind of a problem. And then of course when suddenly he came back and they were playing, I was like, oh, he's playing so well, oh my god, and the media was hyping it up. But everybody, including the media, was like, I wonder why the hell they're playing him. It's like, especially to the media and analysts, I'm like, you know exactly why they're playing him. They're trying to jack up his trade value. They're trying to entice teams into wanting to trade with them by trading mainly for Dennis Smith Jr. Because the fact that Dennis Smith is still a really young guy. He's still on his rookie contract, which is a huge bonus. And, I mean, he still has a lot of potential. He plays with a stupid amount of energy. He's stupid athletic. He has a lot of potential he can still fill. And he's ultra athletic, which in the modern day, that's great. He also is intermittently really good at defense, especially with thefts. So it's really good for any team to acquire him. And so they're like, okay, we haven't played him in a long time. We probably should play him so that give him some decent amount of minutes and leadership role, and then hype him up. That way other GMs on other teams are like, hey, you know what? Tantalizing. It was interesting before. Now it's actually legitimately like, ooh, this is actually a really good kid to pick up. That's why. And obviously the analysts and the media members knew that, but the way the NBA works, they're kind of scripted in certain ways to react in certain ways and talk things up and hype things up in certain manners. As if, a lot of times in this case, as if they don't know why they would do that. Well, of course they know why. It's just their job, unfortunately, to basically pretend that they couldn't possibly know why, because then that would get a lot of more people talking, and then that gets even more notoriety and attention on it, and then GMs can see what the fans are saying about each of their teams, and if they feel like even the fans would think it fits, plus if they're fans of that player, and if they think that they could, basically help the team at least in a PR way, then it's like, okay, yeah, that's that. It's just a typical kind of PRPA system. It's really stupid how it works, but that's the way it is. And of course, that's why they did that with Dennis Smith Jr. Now, of course, getting to the actual trade part of it, a lot of people are saying that the Knicks were incredibly stupid for doing this trade because they're actually quite heavily improved by picking up Wes, by picking up Dennis Smith Jr. and DeAndre Jordan. And they're not wrong. Yes, they did actually improve, I think, a heck of a lot. Especially considering those three guys, I guess Wes still hasn't been too injury prone lately. He's a lot more than he used to be, obviously, because he used to be known as the Iron Man until he busted his Achilles, which was a freak injury, and then suddenly he became a little more injury prone. But otherwise, he's still a quality guy. I mean, he now is a lot more inconsistent offensively, unfortunately. He's not as aggressive, which, I mean, I can understand that. I think he still has something to prove, and he's now officially a quality bench guy, and mentor and vet to have on your team. You'd be stupid to pass up on an opportunity, especially if it was a good opportunity where it was you're what you're getting back along with him and what you're giving away, like in relative value, you're getting a really good guy for pretty cheap. That's always a smart idea to do that with somebody like Wes. It's mainly DeAndre Jordan and Dennis Smith Jr. that's improving the Knicks a lot, considering most people are expecting the Knicks to officially put Wes on waivers, which would suck, but at the same time, that gives us the ability to basically scream bloody murder and plead with Neil O'Shea to finally do shit and maybe actually finally sign him back for once, which all the fans here were super pissed that he didn't even acknowledge Wesley Matthews' existence. He's just like, no, that guy doesn't exist. I don't know who you're talking about. Which is why Wes was so irritated and offended. The fact that nobody on the entire staff of the team reached out to him. They didn't talk to him. They didn't say anything. They didn't talk about their plans. They just were completely and utterly silent. They didn't even acknowledge him. And that is, even as a fan, that's offensive that they didn't even do that. Like, that's what you're supposed to do. At least have the courtesy to tell him you're not in our future plans. Sorry. You're going to have to look somewhere else for a contract because we're not going to offer one to you. At least have the courtesy to do that. That's your goddamn jobs. And they didn't do that with Wesley, which is so stupid. He was really, what it was he was hurt by it. Because he's like, what the fuck is this shit, Like, really? I committed my goddamn future to this team. And unlike LaMarsha, I actually literally meant it. Like, I wanted to stay here. And they didn't even offer me jack shit. Everything I did for this team, the fact I was a fan favorite, and I energized the goddamn team. I was like the main motivating player on the entire team. I was the vocal guy. I was the motivator. I was the leader of the team, officially. I was the Energizer Bunny of it. And you still didn't give a shit to have the courtesy to do your job and at least tell me you're not willing to give me a contract or make any offers to me or listen to any of my offers of what I would want. At least have the courtesy to tell me you're done with me rather than a silence, a complete silence and lack of acknowledging my existence, which is the biggest way to say go fuck yourself, basically, which is so stupid. But the point is that everybody's expecting him to go on waivers, which sucks for him. And it sucks just in general because I think any team that would waive him, especially the Knicks, which is what's expected to do, if they do that, they're actually probably not going to realize what they've just missed out on. Yeah, his contract's pretty steep, especially for what you get out of him now, but at the same time, you can't really teach that kind of pride, that kind of passion, and that kind of energy and mentoring and commitment and dedication and all that. You can't teach that to anybody. That's just something that comes with the person. And that's the kind of person he is. And so you're losing that kind of proper veteran. That's how veterans are supposed to be. It's like a Wesley Matthews. Yeah, this is still a kind of interesting trade, yeah. Because the main reason why people are trading the New York Knicks about the fact that for them this was a bad trade because they actually improved a lot is because of the fact that at this point you still don't have a team that's going to attract free agents. I mean, in my mind, I don't think it deserves as harsh of criticism as people are saying, like, no, it's definitely not, or it's even worse, or it's even lesser that way, or whatever. In my mind, it's not. It's actually more likely to attract free agents. Because again, you have I don't understand it myself, but everybody's like, oh my god, Madison Square Garden. Oh my god, New York. Oh my god, prestige. Oh my god, this franchise, though. I have the chance to be a part of history in New York City. Yeah, at MSG. Good for you. I don't understand it, but everybody else seems to. That's why I mention it. And that's why a lot of people are mentioning. He's like, oh yeah, great. I think that actually this, because of the players they have DeAndre Jordan, who's proven. They have, he's a fantastic old school center. They got him. They got Dennis Smith Jr., who again has great potential, amazing potential. And then they got Wes, who's a veteran. If they keep him, he's gonna prove to be really valuable. He's obviously one of the best teammates you could probably have in the NBA as well. That said, you also have the young guys you already have now. So you still have Frank Ntilikina, who is going to probably wind up being one of the best point guards, I think, in a long while, especially considering he's a defensive first type of player. His defense is ridiculously good and quite consistent. His potential, I think, is a lot higher than a lot of people give him credit for. He's 6'4", I think. So he's actually relatively tall. Dennis Smith Jr. is 6'4" as well. Frank has actually already developed a lot more than people are giving him credit for. And then you have the likes of those other two guys. You have, I'm not remembering their names. This is Mitchell Robinson, I believe, is the center. So you have him, he's shown that he's actually capable of being a starting center pretty much right off the bat for the most part, as long as he's on, like, I'd say like 25, 26 minutes, and you properly kind of rotate him in and out. He's actually a really good spurt player at a starting position, I think. He's definitely proven himself in that manner in my mind. And then you also have the guy I'm not remembering the name of. He was considered one of the top major prospects in the draft, and I can't remember his name for some stupid reason. He's a small forward, power forward. I know you guys could probably help me with that. I'll look him up and I'll put his name up there while I'm referencing to him. Maybe in his picture, but yeah, it's and he's actually been showing he's defensively insane too. Like, he's really defensively skilled, and he's an incredible athlete. But in every other way, he needs a hell of a lot of work. He sucks in every other manner, but otherwise, he's a good player. I think his athleticism and his defense are really good. He's actually shocked a lot of people with his defense. I know that, because they didn't expect him to be as good as he's been this season already. He looks like he's been a seasoned veteran defensively. That said, with his potential as well, if he really lives up to all the hype he had coming into the draft and going out of it, what he has now, then you guys have, in New York, you have actually a really underrated team. I mean, you're sleeping on your own goddamn personnel on that team, your own goddamn players. And that's really sad. That really says a lot too about the current, like, last decade of basketball there. It sucked. I can understand how you get down on, like, I don't trust any player anymore unless they're superstars. But you gotta trust in this team right now, because I'm telling you, if the players know and that those young guys also have that kind of potential, that they're freaking hungry, that they really are kind of dedicated to the game and improving the team, doing their best and improving themselves and improving their relationships with their teammates, let alone, again, their own game and their own lives, then at that point, I can guarantee you the right veterans are the ones that are the veterans you would want to have on your team are the ones that actually are going to be the ones that are going to be interested in potentially coming to New York this coming off season. Especially if they show that they're immediately working out and they're dedicated and they're doing everything they can to improve their games and stuff, then you can bet that team is probably going to end up potentially even possibly becoming a hotbed for at least a rumor mill of a super team, because, again, it's New York. It already has that prestige and that hype no matter what, and the MSG has that too. But then you also have all these young guns with high potential, a lot of hype behind them, and again, if they show that kind of dedication to the game, then there's no way that there's not going to be a strong chance, I think, in New York for having superstars join your team. Yes, now you may not get Zion Williamson or a super high pick in this draft. In my mind, that's just fine, because you already have the rest of the young guys you just mentioned, alongside now Dennis Smith Jr. You guys are pretty well set already with young guns that are going to be developing. At that point, you probably should just kind of sit fat and happy and be like, we're going to take our chances, because we're confident in the fact that we're going to be able to attract at least one big name, at least bigger name free agent, if not a couple, that are very capable starters at the very least, if not stars, this offseason. And that's all we need for then the next offseason to actually, if we need to at that point, sign another superstar. Because at that point, you now have 2 more seasons down, and those young guns might have already developed into quality starters, maybe even quality stars. You guys don't realize how much in New York you're actually sitting fat and happy with this trade. You guys, I think actually, honestly, I really think that both teams improved massively with this trade just because of this. Like you're describing the New York side, that's why I would say that they both actually benefited greatly from this trade. And as long as the front office in New York realizes this, and then actually utilizes and capitalizes on it just right, how it should be done properly throughout the entire time, not just in the near future and then now, but actually in the far future, you guys might even shock Dallas and be like, wow, what have we just created there in New York City? And that would suck in my mind because I hate New York, but anyway. I'm not saying as a team, I just hate New York. It would be great for you guys. So anyway, I just wanted to talk about this, and I did end up talking about the trade, which I wasn't going to, so I don't know if I'm going to, in editing, if I'm going to split these in two. Thank you guys for watching Chatterbox's episode 5. Really, I'm going to call this 4.5. And the only way this, of course, ends up on the end as an outro for a video is if I do end up in editing, split this recording in half into 2 different parts. So 4.5 would be basically part 2 of episode 4. And if that happens, then that's why you're hearing this right now. If you did enjoy, please do leave a like, because it lets me know you guys enjoyed, and that's really, really helpful for me. At the same time, feel free to leave a comment down below. Let me know what you think. And otherwise, stay safe, have a great day and night wherever you are, and I hope to see you in the next episode of Chatterbox in the next video.